Hello and welcome back to Will of the Fans. This is my channel and I am Will. Do you see what I did there? We're going live again. I know it's not the greatest time for most of my audience, but it does unfortunately suit me as one of the only windows that I have lately to be able to stream. While, of course, as I mentioned last week, I am setting up a new venture, but that is not what I am going to talk about today. No, because we have finally seen, at least I've seen, Hogwarts Legacy, the game that everybody has been talking about for months and months and months and months now, is finally here. Well, for most people anyway. Some of us still have to wait until Friday, which for me is about 34 hours away. So I'll be streaming the game when I finally get my hands on it, but for the time being, I've had to make do with watching my good friend Hypnotic's stream, where he has been playing through Hogwarts Legacy as a character he has named, very appropriately, Transphobic Bigot. Hopefully this stream does not get demonetized for being including language like that. Anyway, I thought that since I can't play the game for anybody right now, but I would very much like to, the thing that I might as well do to compensate is to take a look at some of the response to the game, because it's a hot topic. We've seen a lot of these shill corporate websites, your IGNs and etc., that have been writing articles about how everybody should hate this game because it's transphobic, because J.K. Rowling invented Harry Potter and we're all supposed to hate the game because of that. And actually what's really happened is quite the opposite. Kind of like the Barbara Streisand effect, except worse in many ways, because what they've tried to do, the trans community, the LGBT, the LGBTQ, the Legbot community have gone out of their way to try and push this game into obscurity, even going so far as to boycott it, which of course has been a complete waste of time, because as soon as you take a contrary position to what gamers and fans actually want, and the more and more you try to shut something down, the more likely you are to accidentally create a monster in favor of the opposing argument. This is what we've seen happen, and it hasn't really happened like this, maybe ever, to such an extent, because of course we can all see what's happened with Hogwarts Legacy. It has sold so many copies. It's already the top seller for 2023, and it hasn't even come out completely yet. Everybody who's seen it, everybody who's played it is raving about it. Like I said, I've been watching Hypnotic streams about it, which he has dubbed The Adventures of a Bigot. So when you are not watching this stream, you should check that out, because it is a lot of fun. I'm in the chat a lot of the time, having fun with a lot of you guys, and that's been excellent. Really, really fun. The game looks just great. It looks like exactly what you want it to be. If you're a Harry Potter fan, if you're any kind of fan of this universe, you should probably give this game a go, because it's as advertised. That is literally all I can say about it. Everything that I've seen has been exactly what we expected. An open world that you can explore, an incredibly huge realization of the Hogwarts grounds, classes to attend, spells to learn. You can join a house, you can have a say in which house, or you can leave it up to the sorting hat. You get to roam in the woods and fight spiders. You can go into ancient caves. There's all the things that you love about Harry Potter. Now, me, I mean, I've never been the greatest, most zealous Harry Potter fan. I absolutely think that it's a great franchise. I didn't actually get into it until about 2017, though, because when the movies first came out, I was already an adult, pretty much, and I was far more into Lord of the Rings. So my attitude, my immature, like, teenage attitude at the time was, how dare this Harry Potter franchise that I'm so tired of hearing about finally just comes along, tries to compete with Tolkien. Absolutely ridiculous. So I just, it's not like I boycotted the movies or anything. I just didn't care. I just thought it was a nothing event. Of course, I was totally wrong, but I just didn't get round to watching the movies. It was too late for me. I never read any of the books. Like I said, I was tired of hearing about them. When I was in school, I was already a teenager. I was like, this is kids crap. I don't want blah, 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 blah. People used to say things like, well, you know, adults can read it too. Well, yeah, of course they can. It's a book. It's a children's book. Anybody can read a children's book if they're better at reading at least than a child. So I really wasn't kept like swept up in Potter mania when it happened. It wasn't actually until I decided to emigrate from England and come to the Philippines that a friend of mine made me promise that I would at least watch the movies. And since I had no Wi-Fi, barely any money, and really not much going on in the first couple of weeks that I was in this country, I decided to use a bar's Wi-Fi to download the movies and take them home and watch them at night. And of course, my mind was blown. I absolutely loved it immediately. I thought it was a faithful, whimsical British sort of facsimile. I thought it was excellent. I thought the acting was way better than it had any right to be, considering the relative youth and inexperience of the actors. I thought that the dialogue, obviously, I knew then at that point that the writing in the books must be phenomenal as well, because the characters were great, the stories were fantastic, and some of the movies dragged a bit more than others. But overall, I had an absolute blast. And ever since then, I have counted myself as a Harry Potter fan. I bought all the books for Mrs. of the fans to read and ended up reading them mostly myself. Well, half of them anyway. I haven't finished yet, but still, once again, absolutely top-notch entertainment. Why everybody loves this is absolutely no surprise to me. And now the game is out, and the unanimous consent appears to be, this is what I've wanted since I was a little kid. Not me personally, but that's what people are saying. I've been watching Hypnotic stream. Like I said, he's been saying, guys, I feel like I'm in Harry Potter. I feel like I'm at Hogwarts, which is pretty much the intended thing that everybody wants from this game. And that's it. So, I mean, what else can we say? Mission accomplished. You can absolutely tell that so much love has gone into the making of the game. You can see that, and everybody should be watching it. If you can't watch a stream, then watch the VOD. And when the game finally does completely come out in a couple of days' time, you guarantee it's just going to be everywhere for a few weeks. It's going to be like Elden Ring again. Now, this year is shaping up to be a hell of a year in video games, because not only do we kick off 2023 with Hogwarts Legacy, and the fact that that is now one of the best-selling games we've seen in a very long time, and that's even counting the fact that gaming wasn't affected by, the coof like movies were. No, because you don't have to go anywhere. Just buy it and play it, right? But this is still a massive seller. The best-selling game of the year before it even came out. So that's just egg on the face of anybody who tried to boycott it. Like I said, it's like a Barbra Streisand effect. It's like it's always my phone, this. Go away. All right, there we go. So it's always like this when you try to shut something down, when you try to say this is racist, this is sexist, this is blah, 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 blah. No, it's no use. All you do is get, oh, hey, AR160606, ARC, I mean, or ARC. Which one do you prefer, ARC or ARC? Just stopping by to leave a like. I feel a bit ill, so sorry I can't stay long. Absolutely no problem at all. I appreciate you showing up. I know you've been watching Hypno for a while as well, so it's probably getting a bit late wherever you are. This isn't the best time for me to stream. I understand that. It's just the only time I have at the moment, because, of course, I'm split between YouTube and this other venture that's on the other side of the island and takes me out of this house and running around like a headless chicken quite a lot of the time. So the fact that you're here at all, very much appreciate it. Whoever's watching, please do leave a like on this. It does help other people to notice it. It helps it rise up the rankings. Either is fine with me. Perfect. All right, then I guess I'll just continue to switch between them, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, just sort of talking a little bit about the fact that we've got a total Barbra Streisand effect, a total backfire for the LGBT activist idiots on Twitter who have been trying to get people to boycott this game, because it's just not going to work. It's never going to work, because there are more of us. There are more base, normal people who will buy the game just because it pisses them off. And, of course, legions of Harry Potter fans that have been waiting probably most of their lives, whether they knew it or not, for this game. It looks incredible fun. I am having a great time just watching Hypnotic's transphobic bigot character run through Hogwarts. I'm going to stream it myself when I get it, thinking of going with an Alpha Giga Chad character, maybe with a name like Hugh White Supremovich or something along those lines. just because I think it's good to get in on the meme that this game has made so many absolute idiots angry. And well, what can you say to that except ha ha ha, egg on your face? And the really curious thing about it, the one that I was not sure what we were going to see, was the reviews. Were we going to see, really good reviews across the board? Were we going to see a media review bombing like we have in the past, even though they always come at us when we give things low scores for their political insertion? They always say, oh, we're all baguettes and we're all review bombing, but then they don't fail to review brigade things that they think are great. So you really can't predict what the media is going to do these days, especially with a topic that has become so hot like Hogwarts Legacy and the transphobia that surrounds it. Of course, that's all total BS, but it is interesting because what we have seen already is extremely, overwhelmingly positive reviews for this game, even from corporate shield sites, your IGNs and stuff like that. So I'm going to go through a few of them. But first, I thought it would just be interesting to sort of recap this because we do have a Forbes article here that is talking with some surprise about how positive the reviews have been. Like I said, I wasn't sure which way this would go. I didn't care really, because if the media attacked the game, that's content for me when I have time. And if they're loving it, well, they're hypocrites, and that's content for me. So let's do it. So here is what we're seeing. We've got a meta score that you'll see a little bit later when I go to Metacritic, excuse me. Generally favorable reviews based on 38. So that's what they said at the time. Hogwarts Legacy had a lot to prove. I mean, it didn't really. It just was given a lot to prove by the outrage. Promoting itself as a Harry Potter dream game, I'd say they've accomplished that, but from a studio who hasn't worked on a project anywhere near this big before. Good that they're talking about something other than the backlash, because the game does, in fact, have a lot to prove aside from all the JK hate. Yeah, they are a small studio. They haven't done something like this before, but I think what we're seeing so far from the game is that it's an absolute love letter to Harry Potter. The devs obviously love what they're doing. The care that's gone into this, it's like Nintendo level care. It's always great when someone adapts a property and really treats it with respect. That is a great way to get fans on side. It worked for Sonic. I mean, it worked for the first 2 episodes, at least, of Last of Us, and apparently episode 4. So yes, side with the fans, back up the property, show that you care about it, and you will probably succeed. Of course, the property has to be done well as well, and we all know that. So the first reviews are in for Hogwarts Legacy, and early scores are quite high indeed on both OpenCritic and Metacritic. Hogwarts Legacy has an 86. Not bad. Pretty great. I mean, gaming's not the same as movies. If a game gets like a 6, it's a turkey. A 7 is playable and very quite good. An 8 and above is great. A 9 is excellent, and a 10 is the stuff of legends. But no game really ever deserves a 10 because there's always something. Oh, who is messaging me? I texted a whole bunch of people and told them, don't text me, I'm going live. And yet my phone continues. People. Well, perhaps not a 90 plus game of the year material. Well, we'll see about that. An 86 is a very, very solid average in the larger context of the industry, a place which sometimes used to give developers bonuses if they landed above an 85. Yes, we have heard about that from lots of companies where crunch was a thing. They get incentives based on scores. US, Spain, and Portugal gave it a 9, 9.5, and 10, respectively. Here's an excerpt from IGN US's scored review. Well, in nearly every way, Hogwarts Legacy is the Harry Potter RPG I've always wanted to play. Now, that nearly kind of bothers me. It says its open world adventure captures all the excitement and wonder of the wizarding world with its memorable new characters, challenging and nuanced combat. Yes, I have noticed myself from watching Hypno that the combat does look quite deep. A little bit, button mashing maybe, but I don't know. I haven't played it yet. Challenging and nuanced combat. Yes. And wonderfully executed Hogwarts student fantasy that kept me glued to my controller for dozens of hours. Well, we've already seen how many streams from Hypnotic so far? Like 3, 4 in the last 24 hours? Yeah. I mean, this game is a big deal. So that's not really a massive surprise. Yeah, so a lackluster main story, they say, though, although it doesn't look like it to me so far, and some poor enemy variety, but those Even those couldn't come close to breaking its enchanting spell over me. So what is it then that they have given it a 9 for rather than a 10? And more importantly than that, do they mention the backlash? Well, let's see what we have here. Like many, I was waiting for a truly excellent Harry Potter game since I was in the 3rd grade. And you see, this is when I know I'm getting old, because I was already in my late teens when the books were hitting like their real zenith of popularity. Movies, first one came out, I was 16, maybe, something like that. And, I just sort of didn't care. But these people did. I guess they were that decade younger than me. So, and this is when I know I'm getting old, when the professional reviewers are much younger than I am. So fair enough. Just means that they weren't there in the beginning. In that time, we've gotten some respectable Lego Potter games. Yeah, they were okay. An underwhelming EA Sports Quidditch game for some reason. Yeah, that was really, really, really not very good. And even suffered through the fevered nightmare that is Harry Potter Connect. Yeah, that was terrible. But none of these has come close to fulfilling that fantasy of receiving a Hogwarts admission letter that opens a door to a secret world. With Hogwarts Legacy, I'm happy to say that we finally got a Harry Potter game that captures some of that magic. And that is exactly what we have seen. Now, if you want to play it in an ironic, slightly sarcastic way, with a name like Transphobic Bigot, like Hypnotic has, then, well, more power to you, because I think that's just added an extra level, especially when those voice actings come along and the voices sound like they're coming out of some robot that was designed to try and sound a bit like Daniel Radcliffe. But anyway, it's an open world map, absolutely nails the vibe of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. It has spellcasting combat that is stupefyingly good, and I see what you did there. The characters that inhabit it are charming and unforgettable, and it is positively brimming with countless diversions to soak up dozens of hours of your time. Good. Sounds like a video game then. Sounds like a good video game then. Yeah, so it may not be the most impressive technical achievement. Well, a lot of people are saying that it runs excellently on PS5. We are seeing some issues with PC, but I don't know about them yet. That is my platform of choice, however. So if we do see issues there, then I will be reporting on them. You can bet your ass. And it's certainly cursed with a lack of enemy variety, but none of Hogwarts Legacy's issues can cast a descendo charm on this triumphant visit to the Wizarding World. Very good. A 9 is probably a solid score then. So it is nice to see IGN, who normally are one of the shillier sides. I mean, they're not quite like a Kotaku or a Polygon. But then, of course, we also heard Kotaku didn't even get given a review copy because of their constant hit pieces on the game. They are, of course, way more woke than IGN. We'll get to what I consider to be one of the wokest of woke publications in a little short while, and we'll get into that. But yeah, so they've said it's a 9, but why are they not talking about the J.K. Rowling thing? This is IGN. You would think that they would. Oh, there it is. Great. Oh, it seems that I haven't actually updated my screen share. Sorry, everybody. Concerning J.K. Rowling, then, the elephant in the room with Hogwarts Legacy is Harry Potter's creator, J.K. Rowling. Are you sure about that? Can't believe I just boomed that. Anyway, why is J.K. Rowling so controversial? I mean, all she actually said was that she, as a feminist, as a TERF, if you like, a trans exclusionary radical feminist, or what most of us would just call a traditional feminist, most of what she has said is that she thinks that women deserve a seat at the table. Because at the moment, what we've really begun to see is a push by the LGBT community, especially the T community, to overshadow biological women in every conceivable way. Someone like J.K. Rowling, who is a traditional feminist, still thinks that women, biological women, traditional women, deserve a seat at the table, deserve to be represented just as much as anybody else, and especially not when someone can just say, "It's ma'am," and get themselves into a private female-only place. This is a conversation that continues, of course, and I think you can probably work out where I stand on it, because I mean, it's just common sense, isn't it? Women should have their own space. Doesn't matter what you identify as. You should not. You should have a third bathroom, if anything, if that's really what it's going to take. Have the male bathroom, have the female bathroom, and have the Wild West bathroom for people who can't decide what the hell they are. Don't let these people in with a bunch of vulnerable women. That's all J.K. Rowling ever said. And she does make a point, because we can literally cite historical things that have come up where women have been vulnerable and have been abused. So that's basically all she was saying, is she's advocating for women. So that means then that this subset, this tiny little pocket of people, have gotten outraged by this and decided to try and flex what they perceive to be their muscle against this game. But unfortunately for them, as I already mentioned, they make up the tiniest grain of sand in the vast cosmos that is human beings on this planet, and even just the gamers, even just Harry Potter fans who aren't exactly hardcore gamers. You are never going to convince these people to not play a Harry Potter game, or not even a Harry Potter game, a Hogwarts Wizarding World game, because J.K. Rowling thinks that women deserve to have a little bit of bodily autonomy and safety in their bathrooms. That's really the end. That's all that's to be said here. So what they decide to, of course, say in IGN is that her comments about transgender people in recent years have left a sour taste in the mouths of many current and former Potter fans. When you say many is a very, very, very selective term. It's a very subjective term. Many, could be, like I said, how many grains of sand on the beach? 100 is many, but how many billions are there? So, yeah, again, many, but a comparatively infinitesimal subset of current and especially former Potter fans. Both at IGN and in the world at large, this has driven some to call for a boycott of the Wizarding World altogether, including Hogwarts Legacy, though Rowling was not directly involved. And there are good reasons, both in-game and out, to believe the developers at Avalanche don't necessarily share her views. We'll get to that in a little while. Regardless, IGN has always and will continue to champion human rights causes and support people speaking with their wallets in whatever manner they choose. By the way, whoever's in the chat, please continue to make some noise. I'll be happy to hear what you think, answer some questions, and just have a general discussion. That's always good. As critics, our job is to answer the question of whether or not we find Hogwarts Legacy to be fun to play. Okay, good. For once, they found their integrity bone. Amazing. They actually decided to review this as a video game, as rather than a political piece of activist propaganda, because newsflash, not everything, in fact, comparatively nothing really is ever as political as it needs to, as they make it out to be. There was no reason for this to become a massive thing, just because J.K. Rowling said a couple of things and a few freaks got angry about it. Tough shit. No one cares what they think, as we can tell from the sales of the damn game. That's just all there is to say about that. Anyway, it's nice to see that IGN has gone on the objective route rather than getting caught in the weeds here, because it wouldn't have done them any good to come out and say this game is terrible because J.K. Rowling will make money from it. You're not going to convince anyone. You're going to destroy your integrity. Their hands were tied. Because the dirty little secret here is, when you are an activist and a journalist and a participant in pop culture, in fact, it doesn't even have to be that. It just needs to be when you have a job and you are also an activist, it is only a matter of time until your ideology gets in the way of your ability to do your job. And this is what people are starting to find out now. More and more, we're finding it all over the place. So again, it is lovely to see them actually trying to take an objective stance and review this as a video game, which of course is all it actually is. It's just a video game. Review it as a video game. So just as in virtually all cases, we're choosing to expose and address the views of franchise creators separately. Why'd you have to do it at all? I mean, everybody knows. You could have just ignored it, said nothing. And what? 1% of 1% of 1% of gamers might get a bit peeved that you didn't mention it. Who cares? No one takes IGN seriously anymore anyway because of this kind of stuff. But it is still the biggest of the video game media websites. So, you know, like I said, it's good that they've reviewed it objectively. It is, however, sad that they've had to include this. Separately from our consideration of the work of the hundreds of game developers and evaluate Hogwarts Legacy as it stands, leaving behind the scenes context to be considered in addition to that evaluation rather than in place of it, so that it can be weighted according to your own values. So that's fair enough, I suppose. I mean, it'd be interesting to hear what some of you people who are probably watching this on a VOD think of this, because do you agree that they should have mentioned this because it is a thing? Or do you agree with me that it would have been better if they just objectively reviewed this and set a precedent whereby they have ignored all this trash? Oh, I just got a notification that I am live. Anyway, that is the question, really. Is it better to review a game based on its own merit while acknowledging any controversy it has? Or is it better to acknowledge to review the game based on its own merit and just disregard the controversy? I personally think the latter. I think it's cowardly even to admit it. However, still, like I said, some points to IGN for ignoring that. Let's see what everyone else is saying then. We've got a few here coming in from all places, all over Europe at least. We've got V Games there, 100. IGN Portugal gave it 100. 100. Masterpiece, Meisterstück, Chef d'oeuvre, Magnum Opus. Wow, geez, what do we have there? We had English, German, French, and Latin. Okay. Well, that's pretty good. Carol Quintain. Is that your name? I don't know. 100, 100, 97, 95, 95, 95, 93, 90s, 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 PlayStation Lifestyle, 90, Game Rant, 90, Jeux Vidéo, French, 90, What an Adventure. Hogwarts Legacy is definitely the game all Harry Potter fans have been waiting for. Beautiful, lively, exhilarating, and surprising. It drips with passion and magic and is a real pleasure to browse. Stop it. You're making me more excited. IGN, again, 90. Finger Guns, I don't know who they are, but whatever, it's another 90. Let's have a look then. Let's see if we can find some 85s, 80s, 80 PC games. They have said, of course, that there are some PC problems. Like I said, I'm gonna buy the game. Well, I've bought the game. I'm gonna play it on Friday when it comes out on PC here in the Philippines, and I will review it and probably stream it. Avalanche Software and Portkey Games has done an impressive job of creating something original within a much-loved franchise. It's not without its issues, of course. Well, okay. Fair enough. Fairly square. IGN France, VGC, and we got this covered. Now, that is a surprise because they are usually quite a little bit woke. The Sixth Axis, wow, they're still around. 70. Oof. But what's their complaint? Let by gameplay foibles and spellcasting combat that quickly slides into repetition. I mean, there's always a repetitive element to any action-adventure game. That's just the fact. If anything, I haven't heard that complaint from anybody I've seen playing it, not Hypnotic or anybody like that. The only complaint I've seen from him so far is inventory management. Apparently, you collect far too much tat and have to spend too much time either selling it or storing it somewhere, and you get tons and tons of gear and you end up having to destroy it. So that sounds like it could be a bit of an annoyance. But then again, these are pretty modern RPG archetypes. Too much loot, inventory management. This is what usually happens. You end up with a billion items you don't know what to do with. It was the same in Destiny. It's been the same in many RPGs for a very long time. They've never really quite got inventory management perfect. Anyway, Games Radar Plus, 70, solid first attempt. Studio has tried to do too much all at once between the massive open world, the messy RPG economy, exciting action combat. Okay, so again, we're not seeing very much here that is actually criticizing the game based in any way on this ridiculous J.K. Rowling stuff. But what's this? Ah, yes, it's our old friends at The Guardian. Now, Some of my American friends watching this may not be familiar with the Guardian newspaper. They have, for a very long time, as a British publication, been exceedingly left-wing. Now, that, of course, used to just mean voice of the people to some extent. You know, your northerners, your slightly poorer economies, you know, these kinds of people would buy the Guardian. But unfortunately, it now seems that they are just as radicalized, cosmopolitan, and psychotic as Tony Blair intended for the Labour government to become. So we've ended up with a Guardian that is just full of pink-haired radical transgender activists. I almost said transphobic bigot. This is your fault, Hypnotic, because you named your character that, but then made it look like an SJW. Anyway, I'm going to take us over to the Guardian, and we'll have a look here at what we're dealing with their review, which is the lowest that we have seen so far on Metacritic. Hogwarts Legacy Review, Wizarding Wish Fulfillment whose magic wears off. Okay, but are they going to go down the J.K. Rowling rabbit hole? PlayStation 5 version tested. Yes, we know that, right? Okay, being able to wield a wand in the hallowed halls is enchanting, but what's beneath the spell is competent but unspectacular. By the way, just to shout out right now to the fact that I am playing this on PC. Traditionally, I have been a PlayStation guy, but ever since Sony moved to California and started censoring everything, I just decided I've had enough of them. It's kind of hard to admit, really, but when your favorite gaming company goes totally woke, well, screw them. I'll buy it on PC then, bugs and all. Being able to wield a wand in the hallowed halls is enchanting, but what's beneath the spell is competent but unspectacular. Okay. This is strange because the Guardian doesn't seem to be... Oh, no, wait, there it is. There it is. We found it. We found him, guys. There it is. Given how merciless modern pop culture is in its exploitation of childhood nostalgia, fair point, it's remarkable there's been no credible attempt at a big-budget Harry Potter video game before now. It is. That's one of the things that people keep saying. Is like, I've been waiting for this, someone says, for 2 decades. Now, like I said, I've only been a fan, really, for about 6 years, but most people have been going, oh, can't wait for that eventual MMO Hogwarts game or hardcore, you know, action RPG Hogwarts game, which has finally come out. And it's kind of hard to believe, honestly, that it's been 22 years since the first movie came out, even longer since the first book came out. So, yeah, I mean, this is all just making sense as a review so far, which is strange for The Guardian, isn't it? Because they usually just are a bunch of intolerant leftist lunatics. All right. There's been no credible blah, blah, blah. Hogwarts Legacy has so much to work with. It's the product of millions of childhood dreams, donning the sorting hat and setting foot inside the Gryffindor common room. Of course, they went for Gryffindor. Actually, that's probably what I will end up with. It's always what I end up with on those stupid tests that you take. But maybe I'll try and choose someone else. Donning the sorting hat and setting foot inside the Gryffindor common room, manipulating the world effortlessly with a wand and fighting dark wizards are all fantasies that it can easily fulfill. Like I said, watching Hypno's stream, watching his transphobic bigot character run around and ha with the wand is very fun. Watching him learn the spells by tracing the shapes, very fun. Looks great. The soundtrack is sublime, and the flying mechanics look pretty cool too. So yes, you do get to live out that dream of yours that everybody has had, of jumping on a broom and just whizzing around willy-nilly, just having some fun riding a broom. However, among a significant percentage of the millennial contingent that form Potter's original and most passionate fan base, J.K. Rowling's interventions into the debate about transgender rights. Oh, no. She is against self-ID or admitting trans women to some single-sex spaces, such as women's prisons or rape crisis centers, not to diminish the importance of that term or the effect of what it actually means. It's extremely serious. It's unfortunate, though, that if I were to start saying that word willy-nilly on a live stream, YouTube may punish me. So don't blame me if I have to make silly versions of serious words, and I do apologize for anyone who's pissed off by that. Have caused outrage, and this game is subject of a boycott. Oh, no, you don't say. A boycott? Well, that sounds very serious, doesn't it? Oh, no, here we go. It's people like you that are making the world a worse place. That's one of the milder pieces of feedback that Mesa Pretty Latter has received for encouraging people not to buy the upcoming video game Hogwarts Legacy, and well said. Widely expected to be one of the biggest games of the year so far when it launches this week, it gives players the chance to become their own witch or wizard. Yes, and apparently neither in between. You have to choose which dorm you belong in, witch or wizard. However, you can choose to be the opposite body type. So you can choose to be a woman in look or a man in look, but then you can choose the opposite. So I guess that's pretty much all anybody wants, right? And then you have complete control over the voice. So if you really want to, you can have a female body with a deep masculine voice and still call yourself a witch or wizard, which is getting a bit confusing. See, this is why I don't subscribe to any of this rubbish. Now, of course, you can see that there have been a lot of people coming out and saying things like they really are desperate for you to not buy this game, and all that it's really accomplished is made it the biggest selling game yet. And I'm telling you right now, I probably would not have pre-ordered this game back when I did if it weren't for the fact that it was going to piss so many people off, because we're sick of this. We're sick to death of these people, these activist lunatics who cannot just live in the normal world and get on with the rest of us and just live by some semblance of common sense. No, they have to. They're convinced of their exceptionalism because of the universities and the kind of crap that they got taught there. You can be anything you want, they say. Well, no, you can't, because the world does not care. Congratulations, your little boycott, which began here with these stupid fucking messages saying you should boycott this game, have run into the brick wall of people who just don't give a damn what your agenda is and just want to have some fun. And good on them. So there we go. I'm excited over February, not because my new outfit and birthday, but also because I can finally play Hogwarts Legacy. I'm not going to hate Hogwarts Legacy because you do. I grew up on Harry Potter. I've been waiting for this for a lifetime. So you see, the actual quoted and embedded tweets that we're seeing are from people who are just coming back and saying, shut up, activist. We're going to play this game because it looks good and you ain't stopping us, right? Once again, the more noise you make, there's no such thing as bad press. You can scream and into the Twitter echo chamber all you want, like it's the room of fucking requirement. But at the end of the day, you are not going to be able to stop the overwhelming number of people out there who just want to play a goddamn video game and cannot be bothered with your screeching. Hello, Traveler. What you saying there? Morning, Will of the Fans, Anarcho606. As fun as it is seeing the lefties eat each other, I have no interest in the game. Well, that's up to you, as my own reasons extend far beyond leftist nutjobs eating each other, and that includes JK. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, yeah, she is a leftist. I've never really liked much of what she said, but I will defend her right to say it. I will not agree. I will agree that she does spout some real nonsense a lot of the time. But these people are trying to actively deny or diminish the existence of women, biological women. And that is a thing that is happening. So I side with her on this one. But that's not why I bought the game anyway. I probably would have just held off a little longer on buying the game, were it not for the fact that we are... this happened. If this hadn't happened, I probably would have looked at the game and thought, this looks really good. This looks really fun. I'm probably going to pick it up. Maybe I'll wait a little while. The only reason I pre-ordered it really was just to say, screw you guys, screw you activists. I want mine to be in there with everybody else's, showing them that they have absolutely no power over the rest of us. And I feel like sometimes it's worth doing that. It's not very often. The last game I pre-ordered, I think, was No Man's Sky. And I don't think I pre-ordered anything since then, because it kind of proved to me that that's a stupid idea. I'm not a big pre-order guy. I think in all my life, I've only pre-ordered Final Fantasy games, a Zelda, and then there was like Destiny and, of course, No Man's Sky. So I don't tend to do it. I tend to wait for the reviews. Also, I'm years behind because I spent so long living in Asia without a PlayStation or a PC. So that's why I don't normally do this kind of thing. But in this case, I was in the position to do it. I felt like it was a worthwhile cause just to once again deliver that extra little grain of sand into the weight of the boot on the necks of these activists and show them that they really have no fucking clue how powerless and impotent they are to stop what will be considered something great by the majority. And that's just the way it is. Just if they can't handle it, deal with it. You know, tough shit, tough tease. Done. If you can and screech all you want about J.K. Rowling, but really all she said was common sense. And if you want to take this out on a video game and the fans who and declare yourself as no longer a Harry Potter fan because J.K. Rowling, well, that's up to you. Not you, Traveler. I mean, you ex-activist person that said all this crap, because it's really not going to ever accomplish anything. And they do need to be shown the wall, the immovable object of popular opinion. And that is going to be that this game is going to sell massively and in most cases going to get solid reviews. Because, yeah, okay, it's a little repetitive. Bad guys, yeah, they do look kind of all the same. But you get to run around Hogwarts, you get to fly around Hogwarts, you get to make your own wizard, you get to join your own house, you get to do whatever the hell you want, you get to have fun. It feels like Potter by all accounts. Of course, I haven't reviewed it yet because I haven't got my hands on it yet. But like I said, anybody wants to check out Hypnotic's Adventures of a Bigot stream, I strongly recommend you do it. You will get an idea of just how good this game is. Anyway, back to The Guardian then. So, yeah, we're going to carry on with this review that continued to talk about all this ridiculous crap with J.K. Rowling. It is a shame that the game can't escape this context. Well, it does seem that it can. Because once again, the more noise you try to make to the contrary, the more all you're actually doing. Oh, thank you very much, Crayon God here saying, underrated channel, I deserve more subs. Well, thank you. I haven't had all the time in the world for it lately, but I appreciate that if you're subscribed. And if anybody watching this isn't subscribed, well, you know, the button's right there. You can hit the like too, helps people to find it. Appreciate the compliment there, buddy. Very, very, very much. Yeah, so we're just sort of going over this situation because, as I said, I haven't had my my own time with the game yet. That's coming in about roughly 33 and a half hours. But then the game will unlock. I'll play it. I'll stream it. I'll make my own silly character because I want to have fun at this expense as well, just like Hypnotic has. And I'm going to absolutely have a great time with this game because, like I said, even though I've not been a very howdy, Ice Lord. Very welcome to the chat and the channel. Thank you very much for stopping by. Appreciate it. Yeah, even though I haven't been a Harry Potter fan for longer than about 6 years, I have become a very, very much a Harry Potter fan. And, you know, I have devoured about as much of it as I could possibly devour in the time that I've had as a fan. Still haven't finished all the books, but I will get around to that too. Definitely going to play this game, though. Probably would have waited a little longer to buy it. I'm not a big pre-order guy. But then all this ridiculousness happened with these crazed leftist ideologues, these mad trans people going on about how it's somehow violence against them or denying their existence while they seek to deny and discredit and diminish the existence and rights of actual women. You know, that's my take. I don't care. I don't normally side with JK, but I do on this. But the game, you know, everybody just wants to talk about this. I mean, The Guardian is just talking about this insanity. It's totally stupid. They say, aside from the baffling decision to use one of the book's most uncomfortable tropes, the goblins, as the central antagonists. How is that uncomfortable? This is the next thing. Everybody looks at the goblins in these games and the books and that. And the first thing these leftists, these advocates for like equality, apparently, and diversity, the first thing they say is, oh, they're Jews. What? You see a goblin, a short guy with big sticky out ears and a big nose and a penchant for money, and you say Jew? I mean, are you sure that it's not you that's the racist? Because I never thought that. I just thought goblins like money. That's a trope. It's not just a trope in Harry Potter. It's in lots of things. It's a trope in lots and lots of different fantasies, you know? I think the only goblins that don't really adhere to that I can think of off the top of my head are Tolkien's goblins because they're more wild and crazy. But you know, you go to World of Warcraft, the goblins, they like their money. The gnomes too. You go to most fantasy worlds and goblins, they like money. But why do you feel that the need to say that they are Jewish people and then say that the trope is what's uncomfortable? No, Guardian. your social justice and insistence on furthering the trope by giving it noise, by acting like it's us that say these things, but it's not. None of us ever said that an orc was a black person or a goblin was a Jewish person until you guys started saying it. So seriously, have a look in the mirror and just try to work out here that it's you guys that are the racists. Anti-racist equals racist. If you go far enough this way, you just end up back where you started. You end up at the very thing you tried not to be. And this is why it is so hilarious to me on an almost daily basis to watch these anti-racists prove themselves to be the true racists. And it's not just about yelling about white people all the time. This just straight in, just baffling decision to, wow, just what are you saying here, Traveler? Wow, just wow. These scumbags just equated Jews with goblins. Then again, it's the same lot that would equate orcs with black people. Precisely my point. Exactly right. That's it. And the Guardian here just goes straight in, knee deep. It's a shame that their baffling decision to use one of the book's most uncomfortable tropes. So you're saying here, what you're saying, activist newspaper The Guardian, is that J.K. Rowling is a racist because goblins are effectively Jewish people in your eyes. Well, I say goblins are goblins, and I'd never considered even once that they could be Jewish people or a trope for Jewish people until you motherfuckers started saying it. Hogwarts Legacy is studiously inclusive other than the baffling decision. So basically what you're saying is you cannot have a goblin ever in anything because if you do, it's anti-Semitic. But by saying that is anti-Semitic, I can't just keep going around and round and round this insane point. It's completely ridiculous. Hogwarts students from staff hail from Uganda, India, and Korea. It is heavily implied, or if never outright stated, that at least one of the female characters is trans. A female quest giver casually refers to her wife within the first 5 hours, and we can head over to Bounding Into Comics for a little bit more info on that. As we see here, Hogwarts Legacy reveals transgender character. Activists still not happy. What you say there, Ice Lord? People with a one-dimensional view of reality think that a goblin represents a Jew. Exactly. Thou doth protest too much. Correct? I mean, that's the thing. That's where this all started from. These people coming out with these outlandish ideas. I mean, I used to have, just as a personal aside for a moment, I used to have my first ever driving instructor when I was about 18. And this guy used to spout real racial slurs at any POC or whatever you want to call them that he saw, any of them. And I used to sit driving and just be like almost trying not to laugh. I was so uncomfortable. That was racism. That was a one-dimensional view. I grew up in a school system that had Indian kids, Zimbabwean kids, Asian kids, all kinds. I worked in a hospital when I was 17, 18 that was staffed entirely by people from Southeast Asia, which is now where I live. But these people, they have the same one-dimensional view of these groups that my old racist driving instructor had. So I can spot it a mile off. So when these people go, you're a bigot for putting a goblin in there because goblins are obviously there representing Jews. And you're like, what the fuck? What the fuck are you on? How can you possibly say that? Well, it's got a big nose and he likes money. Oh, okay then. Racist. Because I sure as hell didn't say that. I don't know anyone else who said that. Certainly not on our side. It all seems to just come from the left. This insanity. It's exactly the same thing as trying to boycott this game and making it more popular. You're the ones who are saying this is a problem, and thus you make it a bigger deal that we all laugh at and out yourselves as racist. Besides that, though, back to the topic, transgender character, activists still not happy. It has been revealed that Hogwarts Legacy has a transgender character. And just to let you guys know, this is probably the last topic I'm going to do on this stream because I haven't got too much longer that I can keep at it. But I do very much appreciate all of you guys for being here as long as you have. We'll get through this and I'll probably wrap it up in the next 10 to 15 or so. What does he say now, Ice Lord? To them, people aren't humans. People are a skin color or an ethnic group. Exactly. This is the problem with boiling everything down in this communist Marxist way to everybody just being a series of categories. You remove humanity from humans, and that is absolutely the worst thing you can do. History has shown us that the groups who had their humanity stripped from them very quickly ended up like that group that you're now saying are actually represented by goblins. If your take is everyone's just this category, this box, removed the soul, the other things that make humanity magical and great, the qualities that make it so that I can walk into a bar here in Southeast Asia and get into a conversation with a Texan and a Moroccan and a Japanese guy in the space of 5 minutes and all sit round talking over a beer together, because this is the real world, not the world where everybody is just categories. Fuck off. It is no use, and it must be stopped because it is anti-human, as I think is now what we're all beginning to realize about this agenda is all just anti-human. But anyway, like I said, there is a trans person apparently in Hogwarts Legacy, which launches February 10th or 11th for me because I'm a bit ahead. But don't worry, I won't tell you what happens in the future. Those who bought the Collector's Edition or Digital Deluxe Edition gained access to the game on the 7th. And that's why we've been watching Hypnotic streaming it and having an awful lot of fun watching him with his pink-haired transphobic bigot character. Even before that, details came out from the few who managed to get it earlier than that, such as reviewers and influencers. As such, there have been multiple reports of a transgender character in the game. Well, I mean, look at this and be the judge for yourself. Does this look like an overtly transgender person? Yeah, I mean, what does a transgender person look like? Usually not what they profess. Anyway, regardless of that, the character in question is Sirona Ryan, the owner of the 3 broomsticks based in Hogsmeade, which would later come to be owned by Madame Rosmerta. Players meet Sirona shortly after a troll attack in the village. Oh, of course, a troll attack on a trans person. How did they have trans people in the 1800s, by the way? Did they use medical science or magic? I guess with enough polyjuice potion, you could turn yourself into anyone, really, right? But you'd basically just have to drink polyjuice potion for the rest of your life, unless you can transfigure yourself into something else. Hard to tell. Don't really know. Anyway, let's skip past this and have a good look at this character then, shall we? Because they don't look... Looks like a woman to me. But then Uncanny Valley, it could be a dude. Don't know. When later asked how he could trust the goblin Lodgok he was seen talking to, Sirona, he... Okay, now I see how it's trans, right. They've known each other for years, back when Sirona merely waited tables before buying the pub and grew friendly over time despite relations between goblins and wizarding folk being strained. Blah, blah, blah. We get on with that. I'm not going to actually start spoiling the plot, apart from something where the person decides to say about dealing with bullies, leading to speculation. What's Traveller saying? The trans person was just the developers throwing a bone to appease the woke mob, but as we know, it's always in vain. That's true. Ice Lord, they say gender is just a state of mind. Therefore, the exterior characteristics or changes that they implement are irrelevant. Yes, indeed. According to their logic, that is just a mental thing. Yeah, of course. So it is, of course, in vain. And it doesn't actually matter what you do to appease these people. Never appease these people. Never bow down. Never bend the knee. Never give them an inch. They will take a mile. They will continue to radicalize and pervert society, dehumanize groups, and say all the horrible things you can possibly imagine about anybody who disagrees with them for even 1 second, because their identity is so fucking fragile that they cannot handle even the slightest bit of criticism, because actually deep down in their stupid, wretched, miserable little lives, they know they are living a damn lie. And that's unfortunate, but also a fact. Come at me. I will never apologize. Okay. We must emphasize the game hasn't been out very long. We're not getting to it though. But of course, there was that loaded question that was asked to director Alan Chu, who said it was about making sure that the audience who always dreamed of having this game had the opportunity to feel welcomed back, that they have a home here and it's a good place to tell their story. Now that looks like a dude. But if they're identifying as a he, or is it maybe just bounding into comics that is referring to them as a he because they, like me, don't give a crap? Regardless, unfortunately, our old friend, oh my God, I can't believe I ever watched the Jimquisition. Oh, Jim, aka Stephanie Sterling, who is well overdue for self-deletion at this point, has come out and had a go at it, apparently, saying an old acquaintance did some work on that Hogwarts game, didn't have much juicy to say, other than the game is mediocre and its RPG customization elements are vastly oversold. I'm told they added a token trans NPC to pivot the conversation away from JKR. They're barely in it. Oh no, so what? Later, Sterling noted their source felt the game was typical, rushed, licensed title. Naturally, I'm not covering the game that benefits a fascist who has made her entire life about causing harm to people like me. What the fuck are you talking about? How do you get off saying that J.K. Rowling has dedicated their entire life to causing harm to people like you, who a few years ago were so few and far between that no one ever even thought about people like you? Mark my words, Sterling. If it hadn't suddenly become so damn trendy, you would probably still be just a big fat guy with a whiny little voice. As a trans person, seeing all the advertisements and publicity, I'm actually doing Jim Sterling right now. I'm doing Jim Sterling because this is how he does. He does mocking voices of people. So, well, a bit of your own medicine here, Sterling. Sorry, he gets me really, really angry because I used to be a fan. As a trans person, seeing all the advertisement and publicity for work that not only finances JKR but allows her to feel justified, she uses HP's success to claim her views are agreed with, makes me feel quite sick. For some people, that's actually the real fun of this game. Well, to be fair, we are having quite a lot of fun on Hypnotic Stream with his character that's called a transphobic bigot, but actually looks like a... You know what? Go find out what it looks like. It doesn't look right at all. I was also told there's apparently some trans representation added after some of the initial controversy. I don't know how it appears in the final product, but one of the sources I talked to described it as performative bullshit. Well, if that's how you want to be about this kind of stuff, then just go ahead. Go ahead and be miserable. That's really all I have to say about this. The game is, by all accounts, and from what I have seen of it, good. Very, very playable. Lots and lots of fun. Very worth watching some streamers having a laugh with it because it's really good. Personally, if you're going to watch any stream, I would suggest watching either mine when I get around to it or Hypnotics, because in both cases, we're going to be having a lot of fun mocking the hell out of stupid things as well as playing as some ridiculous characters. The game looks really, really fun. I haven't seen anything in it that really made me not want to play it, despite the fact that I am also a bit of an arachnophobe, actually. And there are, of course, lots of giant spiders to kill in the game. So if that doesn't bother me, then nothing should bother anyone, really, because it is just a love letter to Harry Potter or the wizarding world in general. And if these crazy, crazy leftist people really, really, really want to boycott the game and say that it's, unacceptable bigotry because it supports J.K. Rowling, fine. Let them have it. Enjoy not being part of it. Enjoy being excluded, which I'm pretty sure is counter to the inclusivity that you claim to yearn so much. But if you want to remove yourselves from the fan base of this game, fine. Could you also do me a favor and remove yourself from the other fan bases while you're at it? Because honestly, we don't want you here. You're not welcome. You're a pain in the ass. You're a constant nagging irritation like a damn toothache, going on and on and on and on and on all the time about trans this and bigot that and Christ, shut up. Traveler says, even before his newfound transition, I never cared for Sterling. But I know the painful feeling when those you followed and even admired have become a letdown, c'est la vie. Well, yeah, this is the thing. I'll go on a little bit longer because it is worth addressing this. Yeah, I used to like Jim Sterling. I mean, I knew he was a bit of a socialist, but that was when socialism was nothing worse than, say, John Lennon kind of socialism, which was pretty acceptable in most scenarios. It wasn't total communist Marxist craziness at the time. Jim Sterling was always an advocate for the player of games rather than the massive corporations. And, you know, this is why it's hilarious when people come at me and call me like an alt-right Yahtzee and all that stuff, because I ain't. I'm not, obviously not. Corporations can take the piss. They can absolutely manipulate and screw over the customer. And I am pro-customer, always have been. In any business I've ever had or worked at, I've always been pro-customer, even if it means getting in trouble for like not upselling enough. And, you know, when I worked in Blockbuster, I would tell people what movies were actually good, not just what I was told to say was good. No, I'd send them to World Cinema for the £1 movies if I didn't think there was anything good out that week. So I understood that. But at the same time, I've also always been a very, very staunch capitalist and understand that money must be made in order for things to work. That is just the only way it can be. And you will never get rid of the human drive to accumulate success and wealth in order to protect those that they love the most. That's human nature. You'll never get rid of it. So I always took that side of it with a pinch of salt. But then Sterling began to get really, really radical. And then suddenly his show changed its branding, changed color. I was like, why has he gone pink? Then suddenly he's wearing a wig and I'm like, oh no. And then suddenly he's talking about taking hormones and I'm like, oh God. And then suddenly he became insufferable and I just unsubscribed. I was one of those like 200,000 people that unsubscribed from him. Call me a bigot if you want. No, it's just, I knew when the wig came out, I knew that the activism was coming. I'd already been like red pilled by TLJ, Ghostbusters, Doctor Who, and everything like that. So I saw the writing on the wall. I was like, there's no way I can continue to watch this guy. He's going to drive me insane. I'm eventually going to end up saying something that is going to draw his ire, and then he's going to try and come down on me, and then I'm going to get in trouble. I can't be bothered with that. So how about I just walk away? But the little bastard continues to pop up with his whiny little voice, constantly going on and on and on about trans this and that. And if he wants to sit there and say that, you know, that everything's bigoted and biased, well, fair enough. But he's the one who's lost. Me as a fan, I don't really care that much. I've already had to face this kind of crap with Mark Hamill, who I cared about a lot more. Who else? Simon Pegg, Kevin Smith, all these people, Howard Stern, all these people that used to be edgy and cool. Frankie Boyle, the comedian who told such unbelievable jokes and then just went woke. So it's no skin off me. I can walk away from virtually anybody, personal friends too, if they decide to start going down this radical ideology, because it leads to no good. It leads to only more misery, the dehumanization of people, constant battling and arguments and turning everything into an agenda-ridden battleground. It's a giant waste of time. I will never bow down to that. I will enjoy whatever the hell I fucking want. And if anybody wants to come along and call me a baguette, correct. The left is anti-human. That is what we are discovering. They are anti-human. They don't like human tradition. They don't like nuclear families, which for hundreds and hundreds, thousands, in fact, of years have been the way that we had all agreed was the best way to live your life, the way to end up being happiest. Children being raised with a mother and a father and things like that. They want to destroy all of that. Am I set up for super chats? You are unable to send a super chat tip. Okay, let me see what's going on. Maybe I haven't monetized the stream. That would be really rather silly of me. I'll take a quick look here and see if I can do something with that. Just give me a moment while I don't have anybody else on the stream to vamp for me. So I'm just going to have to keep going on and on. But yeah, basically I say this... No, you've done many times before. Right, okay, well, we'll see. Let's have a look. Where's my stream? Let's find it on Studio, and we'll find out. But to keep this interesting for people who are just popping into this, you can sympathize in this regard. Yeah, it's never nice to have to lose your heroes. It's never nice. Hey, that's what's wrong. I haven't turned monetization on. What donut? Well, it's on now. Try refreshing. Anyway, so we can see here that, yeah, lots and lots of people are starting to move away from this this ridiculous ideology. We are seeing that. And it's a good thing, because basically whenever these people have shown up and started going on, like Jim Sterling, like I said, I used to be a big fan of his, and he would go and say these ridiculous, outlandish things. He got more and more and more radicalized until eventually I just had to say, well, enough is enough. I can't watch this guy anymore. He's become insufferable. Same with every actor you've ever admired. I mean, Simon Pegg, for crying out loud. That's one of the ones that really hurt, because I was a massive, massive Simon Pegg fan. Absolutely colossal Simon Pegg fan. And I loved everything he'd done from Spaced. If nobody's seen Spaced and you like Shaun of the Dead, you really should watch it. I still advocate watching the things that the guy made, even though I don't agree with him politically or anything like that. And that's what the difference is between me and the radicalized leftists. They're like, oh, I'm renouncing Harry Potter because I don't like J.K. Rowling. Well, I'll still watch stuff that I enjoyed when I was younger by someone who then went on to become a latter-day leftist. I can't stop liking early Kevin Smith movies like Clerks or Dogma or Mallrats. I like Mallrats, yeah. When it's just nostalgia at that point. But the stuff that Pegg and Frost and Edgar Wright made were all great. Yeah, Spaced. If you haven't seen Spaced, you must watch Spaced. It's the precursor to Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and all of that. Same team of people. Before they made a movie, they made 13 or 14 episodes in 2 series, which is just absolutely riddled with hilarious references to nerd culture. You can totally see where Shaun of the Dead came from. You got to watch Spaced. But I still say I don't want to listen to any damn word that Simon Pegg says, because he is just going on and on about fans. Like, the guy literally came out and had a go at Star Wars fans when he himself in Spaced made a huge speech about how angry he was, as in his character, about episode 1, because he was a 70s Star Wars kid. He said, you don't know what it was like. You weren't there at the beginning. And he's talking about Jar Jar and how Jar Jar makes the Ewoks look like, quote, fucking Shaft. So then to come out and have a go at fans who don't like the Mary Sue, Rey Skywalker and stuff like that is awful. And it makes it very difficult to watch stuff with Simon Pegg in it. But, I will go back and watch the early stuff. So there's no excuse at all for someone to go on and on and on and watch and not want to watch Harry Potter or read the books or buy Hogwarts Legacy because they don't like J.K. Rowling's opinion. Because J.K. Rowling didn't say anything that extreme. The people saying the extreme stuff are the people who are pissed at her. So again, it's like when Jim Sterling went completely and totally batshit insane, I actually had to walk away from him. And I have trouble watching his old stuff again because he's gone so far. So I suppose in the end, you have to agree, it's a spectrum. Some people I can still tolerate. It depends on, A, the importance of the work. So, for example, I'll still watch Star Wars, the OT, even though I can't stand Mark Hamill. And B, how radical they really do become. Whether you can continue to watch and enjoy the stuff that they made after they then go on to become a latter-day leftist. Or even if you're on that side, you shouldn't write stuff out of your will just because you now don't agree with what somebody has said. That's never a good way to do things. Ever, ever, ever. Anyway, is that monetization working now? Let's see. I don't know. Let me just check, and I will begin to wrap this one up. But I will keep going for a little while longer since you guys seem to be having quite a bit of fun in the chat, and I am interested in hearing what you guys have to say about this. Is anyone here actually going to buy Hogwarts Legacy? Because I have it already waiting to download. Or in fact, it's downloaded. I just have to wait for it to unlock, and I'll be able to play it. What's Ice Lord saying here? The bank said everything is fine on their end. It must be a YouTube issue. Huh. Interesting. That is strange. Maybe I'm demonetized. I don't know. It might be because I didn't monetize before the stream, but I don't know. You can always send a tip afterwards or something if you like, or on almost anything else that I've made. The monetization is switched on this stream as far as I'm aware. Let me just double check that. But I'm still quite new to this streaming lock and haven't quite got used to how to figure out all that other stuff yet. Apparently monetization is on. This video is being monetized. Should be able to collect super chats or whatever you want if you like. But if you can't do it this time, I am still flattered by the gesture. And I will get this stuff worked out a little bit as I continue to start streaming a little bit more and making a few less videos, because at the moment my lifestyle and my future lifestyle and my new venture are getting in the way of these things. What you say, secretly Simon thinks the same as you. He was merely repeating. Yeah, this is what I believe. Yes, exactly. So that's on that spectrum as well. So it's the importance of the work that they initially did versus how radicalized they became. And if you actually believe it, that of course also means whether or not you can continue to watch their stuff. Like, for example, I know Simon Pegg probably doesn't believe all this crap, whereas I think Kevin Smith is probably a little bit too far down the rabbit hole now. Also, I think that Spaced and Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, and I guess The World's End as well, I haven't seen that many times, are objectively superior works to most of what Kevin Smith has made, although I do, for the record, like both. But yeah, I find it hard to believe that Simon Pegg really thinks the fans are wrong. I find it hard to believe that he actually thinks that you should be shutting the hell up if you think that Rey's a Mary Sue, or that Kylo Ren is a petulant man-child, or that you know, Rose Tico absolutely sucked, or that Admiral Holdo's plan made no sense and that she was a pain in the ass feminist who abused her power, you know? Yeah, all these things. In the end, what someone says and believes, if their work was important enough, it shouldn't matter. So for these leftists, I would say, first of all, shut up, shut the hell up, get in the sea. And if you really don't want to have to get in the sea, then just shut the hell up. And if you want to play Hogwarts Legacy, then don't feel like you have to ignore it just because JK thinks that biological women should have some rights as well. It's really not that much. I mean, one of these voices is trying to advocate for a better lifestyle for someone, and the other is advocating for actually taking rights, privacy, and privileges and security away from a group of people. And the group that are objectively wrong on this are the left, are the trans people. Because they're the ones who are trying to diminish the safety of women. You cannot just say, I'm a teddy bear, and expect everybody to say, okay, you're a teddy bear. Maybe the few friends surround you, yeah, they'll believe you. They'll agree. I had a friend went trans about 10 years ago, and it was a bit weird because it was a dude who turned into a lady, and it was a really kind of like really masculine looking face with a very deep voice, who turned into a man. A man is an adult human male who takes responsibility. There, that part is important too. My cutoff was the PS2 era when it comes to video games. Finance is one part of why I'm out of the video game scenery altogether. So I have to content myself with watching you guys stream. Well, that's absolutely fine. Honest to God, I had, like I said, the very similar experience. I found that when I moved to Asia, I had to gamble an enormous amount of my life. So I couldn't afford to just go buying video games. I didn't have a good enough computer to run them. My PlayStation had to stay behind because I didn't have enough space to carry it. And so I had to get like a year, 2 years behind on games. That's why I always play things a bit late and haven't really tried to stream anything yet. But I'm very... There, let's wrap the stream up on a positive note, shall we? I'm very, very excited for 2023 in gaming. We have got a number of extremely high-profile releases coming out, and a couple that a lot of people might not know about, but that I have to shill for, have to do it. Because we've got Final Fantasy 16, supposedly, coming out this year. We've got Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, I believe it is. And that, I mean, that's the sequel to Breath of the Wild. So we've got two heavy hitters right there. And this is following on from Hogwarts Legacy, which Hypnotic has said, and lots of people in his chat were saying, is now a major player that other games are going to have to up their game to steal the spotlight from Hogwarts Legacy. And that's a very big compliment. So he must be really having a whale of a time on that. What else? We've got loads of other things coming out, but one that really, really has my attention that nobody else really talks about is the Suikoden 1 and Suikoden 2 remakes, or not remakes, but remasters and re-releases, because these are two JRPGs that came out in the mid to late, no, I can't even think. Jesus. I think one was about 1996, the first one. The second one was about 1999. They're old school sprite art, PS1 era, JRPG, absolute masterpieces. And a lot of people just forgot about them. They were very hard to find until they were released again digitally on the PS Store for handheld. 108 main characters in each one that you have to recruit in order to raise your power and then be able to slowly fight back against oppressive regimes and things like that. It's really, really, really good series. And I will be streaming both of them, believe that, this year. So I hope to help get some a bit of a signal boost for those games through streaming them, because they are fantastic games. Despite the fact that they're old school pixel art kinds of things, they are mature when it comes to plot lines, not overly violent, but they do deal with some fairly adult themes occasionally. Not that that's all I look for. It's just that, like scenes like, brutally wiping out villages and things like that, and messy deaths, but not horrible. But again, more mature than, say, some JRPGs, say like Breath of Fire, and things like that. Yeah, but I did used to play a lot of JRPGs, and these were two of the best. So definitely worth keeping an eye out for if you are a retro fan. And I believe they're coming out on PC, Switch, and everything. So that's great. But of course, like I said, we've also got you've got a bucket list with Suikoden's on it. Fantastic. Traveler, don't miss them. They are great. If we get these, it shows Konami that it's worth bringing the other 3 out as well. And then we get reboots of 5 of the best RPGs ever made. So there you go. That's my take on all of that. If you're out of here, then I appreciate you stopping by. Like I said, I'm going to wrap up the stream very, very soon. Just going over the last few minutes. I've actually gone well over an hour now, but that's because you guys showed up and started talking to me, and I just have a great time talking to you guys. Even though it's all in just chat comments and stuff like that. If Suikoden's on your bucket list, not for long. They'll be very available very soon, and much improved versions by what I've seen. And then, of course, don't forget, we've also got the Suikoden spin-off, not spin-off, the Suikoden how do you call it when someone goes off and makes the same game again but with a different name? What do you call that? Because it is the team that made Suikoden. It's their Kickstarter crowd-funded Suikoden style RPG that they made, because it was clear that Konami were never actually going to give them the opportunity to continue the series, and the Suikoden revival movement and all these others were absolutely kicking ass and saying, we want more of these games, we want remasters of these games. Konami didn't care. Konami is the worst, to unfortunately paraphrase Jim Sterling, but or at least the old school sane Jim Sterling. And yeah, they were a terrible company. They just stopped making games. They stopped promoting the games they had made. It was absolutely awful, and Suikoden vanished into obscurity because of that. So people wanted a lot of them. Konami weren't going to listen, so the guys got together. They made a Kickstarter campaign, and they got funding. They got way more than the funding they asked for. And so we have Eiyuden Chronicle. That is coming out as well. And that is basically a Suikoden game in all but name. Of course, it won't be allowed to be set in any of the same places or with the same characters, but it will be that kind of game. Plus, we have, again, the remasters of the original Suikodens. We have got Final Fantasy 16 and Zelda, the sequel to Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and Hogwarts Legacy. Damn, this is the best year in gaming that I can think of for a very, very long time. It has been really rough the last couple of years, thanks to the coof and the lockdowns and the Fauci ouchie and all that stuff. So that's what I want to do. Just wrap up this stream with a bit of optimism for a change. We need a Last of Us 3 with trans zombies representation. How would that work? I mean, they would begin to decompose, right? So then that would have the same effect as, you know how people say, like, if you were to die as a trans person in 20,000 years, someone digs your bones up and it's like this was objectively a male, even if they were presenting female, but you can't change your DNA. You just can't. So a trans zombie, that would be an interesting thing to see as they began to decompose and like the fake tits fall off and they're still wearing women's clothes, but the dingus is hanging out, Interesting thought there, Ice Lord. I appreciate it. Wouldn't be much different than what we see now. You're not wrong, man. You're not wrong. They're just sitting there going, it's man. Yeah, that would work. Oh, I kind of want to make that now. Somebody give me a budget. I'm going to make Trans of the Dead. That'll be it. That'll be it. Trans of the Dead. There you go. Greg Amurs is here. Hello. You're just catching me at the end of the stream. I appreciate you stopping by, though. We're just having a conversation right now that has deviated from Hogwarts Legacy and J.K. Rowling through to classic games that are coming out this year. And now we are on trans zombies and what that would be like. So great timing, dude. Yeah, no, I mean, that would be pretty hilarious if somebody were to make Trans of the Dead, or what else could we call it? I had an idea once for something that I was going to call Porn of the Dead. I guess you could put trans in that, but I don't want to make that. I would like to see what that would be like, though. No, because there'd be undead walking around wearing the wrong clothes, which are slowly decomposing and revealing their true biology. So you basically, what we're saying here is that a zombie apocalypse is the only way to stop this angry, furious trans rage. Okay, so we just need a good zombie apocalypse, and then biology will have to win. Okay. I'm not into gaming, but sounds ridiculous. That's okay, man. That's okay. You don't have to be into gaming. It's just that if you are into gaming, or anybody is into gaming, we have got really quite a stacked slate for this year. No matter what happens in movies, gaming is looking solid. We've got lots of RPGs coming out this year. I think we've got Final Fantasy 16, I think. Let me just double check this. Final Fantasy 16 is out on, the 22nd of June. Jesus, right after my birthday. Happy birthday to me. We got Tears of the Kingdom is out. When is it out? Does it have a release date? May 12th. Oh my God, those two are we actually going to get a Final Fantasy and a Zelda going head to head? Oh boy, that's going to be big trouble for me. Those are like two of my favorite franchises ever. Oh no, what am I going to do? Well, whatever. And of course, we've got the Suikoden 1 and 2 remaster that are out. When are they out? Let's see. Gate Root and Junification Wars. Trust the science, accept human biology and anatomy. Yes, an extremely left-wing radicalized talking point there. Very good. A good example. When's that out then? So, okay, no confirmed date yet? Really? We don't have that? I thought we did. Let me just check this. Suikoden 1 and 2, March 9th. My God. I better grab that. It's a good job I've already got Hogwarts Legacy coming out, because I'm not going to have any time between gaming. At least I'm going to have plenty of content for you guys this year, because it's going to be Hogwarts Legacy until Suikoden 1 and 2. Then it's going to be straight from that. We're going to end up heading into, what was it? Tears of the Kingdom. And then that's going to lead into Final Fantasy 16. When the hell is Eiyuden Chronicle going to come out? God. Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes release date. Is it confirmed yet? Do we have a confirmed release date for that game? Let's see. No, just 2023. Okay, relax. So that means that basically between now and let's say July or August, I have got a absolutely rammed roster of games that I can stream on this channel. So if anybody is actually interested in me doing a little bit more than just ranting and raving all the time about how much I am sick and tired of leftists and woke-tards and all that stuff, then, let me know, because I'll be very happy to stream the hell out of those games once a week for you as well, or every few days, I guess, because when a big one comes out like this, you need to be streaming all the time to get that, to get the attention that you need. Okay, that will do it for this one, guys. Thank you very much for checking out this stream. I appreciate every one of you. Unfortunately, yes, the monetization was not turned on at the beginning because I am stupid. I am a noob. I forgot to do it. If you are interested, like you said you were earlier on, there I can absolutely say that you should be able to leave something on this or any other video on my channel if that's what you'd like to do. And I will understand that the message is for the stream. Appreciate the gesture either way. And I will be back probably with another video very, very soon, probably like tomorrow, I expect by this point, I will get back into streaming. If I can find some time on Sunday, then I'm looking to do the first episode of Chill of the Fans, which I think will be a sort of interactive summary of the week's news and maybe even a bit of gaming. So let me know if you're up for something like that, and I will. You may need to monetize the stream before it starts to get super chats. Yeah, I probably do. That's probably what it is. I'm still new at this. It's only my second stream ever. It's still a little bit experimental. I appreciate you guys letting me in, and Gregor Mears, I know Zelda. That's old school. It sure is, sir. Check it out back there. And the other hat that I usually wear. I'm a big Zelda mark. Have been for years. Love me some Zelda. Hence why I have a Triforce lamp shining just over there. I'm right-handed but left-footed. Where does that leave me? The same place as me, actually. Yeah. So whatever I am, you are. Based, I'd say. Yeah, so again, yes, I might need to monetize the stream beforehand to get super chats. That is something I will consider next time I stream, which hopefully will be Sunday. But until then, expect me to release a couple of videos in the next few days. And of course, I probably... No, actually, of course, I've done it again, haven't I? I've totally boomed at this. I really do need to prepare more before these streams. I am absolutely going to be streaming Hogwarts Legacy just as soon as I can. It comes out for me at midnight, Thursday, Friday, which is, of course, Philippines time, which is GMT plus 8 hours. So if you're in Eastern time in the States, then that is 13 hours ahead. So you're looking at about 11 o'clock in the morning. Hopefully that works for some people. If not, well, you can always catch the VOD, but I'll hope that lots of people will be coming to check that out because I'm going to have some real fun with my character, who I've pretty much already decided is going to be called Hugh White Supremovich. Anyway, there you go. Thank you. Yes, Gregor Mears. This whole concept of me streaming has been thrown together a little bit at the last minute because of my lifestyle coming into play. I have new things, new ventures, and they're getting in the way of my ability to sit and edit and make dozens of thumbnails after another. So instead, I just make one thumbnail, shoot up for a big topic chat. I know I put Frosk on the thumbnail for this, so I will just go ahead now and say Frosk is a maniac, an absolute attention hoe who needs to shut the hell up and just disappear forever. Otherwise, she's also a hypocrite. That was basically all I was going to say about Frosk, but the less time there. What is EU time? What time are you in? What country are you in, Ice Lord, if you don't mind saying so? Because I do know EU time quite well as well. All right, so I have got quite a few fans in the EU now. I used to be like 80% America, so I tried to like release my videos in coinciding with that. So that explains why I'm getting EU guys right now, because that's what time is it? If it's in Netherlands, it's the same as the UK, I believe. So that would be about 8 o'clock in the morning right now, something like that, because it's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon where I am. Okay, well, I'll keep that in mind, and also shout out to the Netherlands. I'm a big fan of that country. Been there a couple of times. Mrs. of the Fans is a huge fan of the Netherlands as well, particularly the agriculture. And Poland we've got here as well. Wow, I've never been to Poland, but might put that on the list. You never know. Anyway, guys, that is it for this stream. I appreciate all of you showing up. Wow, we've gone an hour and a half. That's might have to allocate the time for that in the future. Hey, there you are. It's 12 at night here in the west coast of the USA. Yes, of course, I'm about 15 or 16 hours ahead of... Wow, that's insane. Don't worry. I'm not going to tell you what happens. It's okay. Anyway, I'll catch you in the chats on Hypnotic Stream until Friday midnight my time, which would be... Oh my God, what, 4 o'clock in the afternoon in the UK, or about 9 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning, west coast of America. On Friday or Thursday night, 8 o'clock at... My God, on Thursday? Really? Yeah, it is. Which is when I finally get my hands on Hogwarts Legacy. Until then, I will see you in the chats of as many of Hypnotic streams as I can be in. I hope I will also be appearing on Saturday Night Hypnosis this week, because I have got a lot of requests to hit that back up. So I'm trying to shuffle a few things around, make some time for that as well. Appreciate all you guys so much. It really does mean the world to me and keep me interested and keep me active, because I am a bit swamped with multiple different directions right now. I haven't forgotten about you guys. You haven't forgotten about me. It's all very good. It's gravy, baby. I love it. Very positive vibes on this channel, and you guys rock. So like I said, back soon. keep an eye out. I'll post. I'll throw up some shorts probably as well over the next couple of days. Lots of stuff coming, and I'll catch you Friday or Thursday, whatever day it is for you. Thursday, I think. Friday if you're somewhere in Asia, and also Saturday, and hopefully on Sunday for Chill of the Fans. But for now, that's it. And so all I have to say is until next time, see you later. Take it easy.